Endorsing a MiHoYo game should look like the back of a cigarette carton. I'm gonna have fun, but if you replicate it, you will experience several health defects, and most importantly, won't look as cool as me. Zenlesszonezero is an action beat-em-up where you play as a team of 3, trying to fight your way through several levels while grinding gear and items. It's free to play, and available as of the 4th of July, because there's nothing more American than gambling and Chinese products. I set my eyes on Zenless because I've always wanted to get into a MiHoYo game and put massive boobs on my thumbnail, but it's always been so far out of reach because these games have been going on forever. They've built up long campaigns and strong repeating characters, while Zenless currently has none of that. Honkai has 3 planets full of missions, and I don't even want to know what's going on in Genshin Impact. This is a clean slate. Basically, I want to throw in a small disclaimer that this is my first time with gacha games, which I have been told is the start of a very terrible descent. So if I get something wrong, I'm very sorry. And I don't hope I find out how this community got its reputation firsthand. Zenlesszonezero takes place in the city of New Eridu as it battles a crisis known as hollows. Tears in reality due to a high concentration of an element called ether, which turns people into monsters called ethereals. Like Honkai and Genshin, you can pick your protagonist, but unlike those two, this character doesn't engage in combat. You can pick between Bell or Wise, who will take on the role of Proxy, a navigator that sends agents into the hollows to fight the ethereals and gather resources. Breathe in, breathe out, you're gonna be fine. Both of these protagonists stay in the story no matter what, which is a great improvement on the other MiHoYo leads. In Honkai, I got my protagonist in the party and then immediately had to remove the core of the story to fit in more e-girls. I want to be immersed in this, damn it. Zenless instead has you work with the agents as a go-between for the action. These are specialists that excel in combat, and they're the main draw of the game. It is free to play, and they give you 3 characters for free. The rest you need to spend money on via a slot machine. That's enough for most people to throw it out and say, nah, that's fine, I'll get a Slurpee. But Zenless has a high bar for quality to make it feel all the better as it goes down. You can pour 300 into your rolls, get a bunch of random orbs you'll never think about again, get pissed that you could have spent that money on a normal game, then you listen to the part of the battle theme that goes until you feel better. And if that somehow isn't enough, they can offer you 10 free polychromes. The plot revolves around the various interweaving factions in New Eridu.
I hate that name.
And a mysterious AI that has integrated into your computer and seems to map out the hollows for you. I haven't finished what there is to serve, but I can say I really like the start the game has set out. The game frames itself as a daily life story. You get up every morning, set up your video store, do dangerous missions in the afternoon, check your texts when you go to bed, rinse, repeat. The sibling you don't pick will stick around as moral support and an extra narrator. So it's not like you get hit with some big tragedy. The worst that happens is that you get hacked and have to scrap your favorite account.
I have to say, I'm touched.
Wait, I recognize that audio effect.
Kira, it seems you can kill people without having to be there in person. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't just witnessed it.
The gameplay of ZZZ is split between your expeditions into the hollows and your daily life as Wise and Bell. The home on 6th Street immediately grabbed me. There's such a warm, local, cozy feeling to it. As you walk around its streets and get to know its locals, play Snake at the arcade, grab buffs, do your local scratch-off, make coffee, listen to the OST. The heads-up display can be very aggressive and hurt the immersion, but it's a testament that 6th Street's energy shines past that. And I know what 0.0005% of you are saying. Why does this town look like the one from Shashingo? Learn Japanese with photography. Hell, there are hub areas I haven't even found yet, and I thought I was playing a lot over the past week. At any point, you can boot up the HDD, or Hollow Deep Dive system, to go straight into a mission. Sometimes it's a straight roll through some combat, but most of the time it'll be an exploration through the Hollow via this menu here, and I promise it's not as scary as it looks. Effectively, it's just a top-down view of the map to represent you moving through it. You are this guy here, and you move through the squares. Just like Reddit, there's a large variety of squares. Squares with angry fellers in it start combat, while others heal you or give you coins. Some squares will increase your corruption as your characters are weakened by the ether. This is a meter rising to 100. When maxed out, you gain a debuff for future fights, but one of the squares in this fucking list gets rid of them. At the time of writing, I've never struggled with the corruption mechanic, but there is Hollow Zero, a particularly intense bit of level for endgame players. And I've seen that a few levels have flirted with the idea of making me miserable. Plus, this game uses the map to throw puzzles your way, and I actually didn't hate them. They were easy, but I appreciated the change of pace. The mission structure likely goes, enter the hollow, find the enemy squares, kill them all, heal at a square, find the last guy, leave, get currency. A dozen different currencies, items, or what have you. There's so many that trying to fit them in a single video without going over my word count would mean backspacing some swears. Fuck, you don't even gotta do a mission to get it. I found rewards hiding everywhere. I got rewards from leveling up characters, from scratching the lottery, from taking photos, from logging in, and I know there's more sitting on this menu somewhere. I don't care if you show Wise tastefully sitting there on his phone, just tell me where to find it. When it comes to combat of all things, I'm reminded of Platinum games, but I don't think that's really it. The only reason I have that association is that the game is built around counters and invulnerable hits that feel like swinging a sledgehammer at the screen. Make no mistake, this is some crisp shit. Characters slam into enemies, sending sparks flying, and afterwards you can combo and combo and combo. Each character has the same core abilities: a basic attack, a special attack, an EX attack, dodge, dodge attack, chain attack, and an ultimate. The sauce is how they use these. For example, Anby's sword is a standard 5-hit combo, while Billy Kid is a mobility DPS whose basic attack always changes depending on where you're shooting. And Nicole swings her weapon, doing light damage to everyone, and that's all just with the attack key. Each character also has a special attack that can be triggered whenever. It's normally just a new animation of some kind, but if their EX meter has enough charge in it, the move will be imbued with some kind of special effect. It can just be more damage, but it can also be a black hole that sucks in nearby enemies, which can be followed up by Billy putting a bullet in everyone he sees. The other main draw is that you're not really one character, as much as you are 3 characters that just swap spots, like a WWE tag team match dictated by bad luck. One of the best attacks in the game is the chain attack. If you daze an enemy with a strong attack, a button prompt will appear, allowing you to swap to one of the other 2 agents and unleash their heavy attack. And while you do have a perfect dodge, the perfect parry is actually done with the character select button. Each character will have a different effect. Some will block it, severely increasing the enemy's stun. Others will unleash a heavy blast all their own. There is nothing stopping you from swapping back to the character you actually want to play, but it's at its best when you're swapping from agent to agent in a sugar rush. And because of that, this is where I need to put a pin in the combat system, because I know you people want blood. You think you're having a bad month? I just learned what a fucking banner is. I knew I wanted to cover Zenless when it was announced, so I was ready. I paid my respects and booted up Honkai Star Rail in preparation. I pre-registered, which meant I had an email full of free rolls. But I also knew that I wasn't going to be patient enough to rely on them. The word gacha comes from Japanese vending machines that would dispense a random toy each time a coin was inserted. Some people wanted them all, and they became quite lucrative in squeezing money out of little kids. You might think you're smarter than them, and I want to ask you if you own any Pokemon cards. In Zenless, you have a currency called polychromes. Polychromes are exchanged for master tapes, and a certain amount can be spent to roll the gacha and receive either a character or a piece of gear. There are monochromes, but that's for Zenless 102. Gear is the common drop, while characters are split into A rank and S rank. A rank characters are fine. S rank are the ones that are usually story relevant, more attractive, and better at everything. You can pick one S rank character after 300 rolls in the standard banner, but it's limited to a certain pool of characters, meaning it won't have that new card smell. From what I can tell, the common way of doing it is to pull 10 at a time. Though since this is my first gacha game, if I can simply say what is happening properly, I'm content. There is also the event banner, which contains the new in characters that people want to pull. It's also important to remember that gacha games have this thing called pity. While your chances of getting a character are low, the chances of rolling an S-rank character are lower. If you roll a certain amount of times, in this case 90 rolls, you are guaranteed an S-rank character. That does not mean you are guaranteed the one in the banner. At the time of release, that was Ellen Joe. And just so you know how hyped up this character is, there are 3 trailers, each with new art styles. So I spent $75 on the game, about the price of a game I'd buy off the PS5. And for what it's worth, every cent I own is given to me by the public, so this isn't my luck. This is our luck.
I mean, it's for the video. It's for the video. Okay. I'm rolling. Wow, I think that is the worst result. Oh, I got that girl again. Great. What do I do with her?
Put her in the trash.
What do I do with her?
The gambling master.
I don't want to.
Better.
Yo, fuck it. You forget. I'm gonna see all of you tonight. All right.
Oh,
Ew.
no.
Ew. What the fuck is that?
I got some blue bitch.
What's another 18 bucks?
Wait, I got Ness.
Oh.
Blade is drawn. Awaiting mission commencement.
I don't know what that is. Woo! The worst result possible. Did I get anything I haven't gotten before? I got this fucking cocksucker again. Oh my god, I got 2 A's at least.
It's gonna be that guy again.
Oh god.
You gotta play that guy now.
Wait, all right. If you did get the $50 one, would that be enough to do all of the rolls?
Hypothetically speaking.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
think-
if you get the $50 one, you would get a guaranteed S, and it would be a 50% chance to be Ellen. Surely, right?
Surely. So zero, you fucking asshole.
Zoneless.
Alright. Choo.
2 A's.
2 A's. It's that fucking guy again!
Can't escape Anton, baby.
Oh, I did it! Oh, shit! Oh, fuck, thank God! I did it! She's got her own theme music, too. And now I have all these rolls that I've already paid for.
You just bink it in the first 10 points.
Oh.
Anyway, now that I have characters that aren't the starting 3, and made all of you hear my casual mic, we can go back to discussing combat. The characters are separated into attack, stun, anomaly, support, and defense. Meaning, yes, there is actual team building dynamics to this game. Each character has access to an element as well: fire, ice, electricity, ether, and good old physical. Upon hitting an enemy with enough of an element, and they are debilitated. These are called anomalies because if I spend $75, you're fucking A-right I'm not calling it a status effect. At the time of writing, there are only 2 agents with access to the ether element, and one of them is free. There will not be another generosity like this. One of the best ways to play is to stack characters with a specific anomaly. That way you can focus on building that up consistently, and you can scope out the trouble you'll face before entering the hollow, so you know which one to take. But there's a lot more to the team builds than that. Characters that have close bonds to each other give specific bonuses. For example, if you use the original 3, and be Billy, Kid, and Nicole, they all give each other a bonus for belonging to the Cunning Hair faction. Not to mention they all talk to each other in combat and it makes it feel a lot more lived in. Honestly, I'd play these 3 just for fun. I wasn't too thrilled with the characters I pulled at the start, but I began to pick up on their little intricacies as I went on. For example, I realized that while Lucy's basic combo was really lame, her special attack buffed the team, she spawned little helpers, and that this game started with more lollies than men. I would advise that you do each character's VR training because the in-text explanations are fucking awful, especially as each character is vastly different in complexity. Piper is just a large AoE swing and that's her whole gimmick. Meanwhile, Ellen Jo is built around a special dash ability and stacks of something called Flash Freeze, which is gained with some attacks, not others, and basically turns her into a different character once you start thinking about it. Then, finally, you have the character's ultimate. This is gained by reaching 3,000 decibel points, upon which you can fire off an extremely heavy attack specific to the character you're playing. And it's one of the few things I think its predecessor does 100 times better. A lot of these lack the oomph in compensation for the time you spent building them, and they're very one-note as well, usually creating some heavy damage or anomaly buildup, but not nearly enough where I feel strong using it, or that I even needed it. The way it charges lends itself to being triggered once or twice a hollow, and because they lack depth, the best time to use it was almost always at the start of the fight to thin some health bars, or at the very end of a run before I forget about it. In Honkai, every character has an ultimate that builds separately and stays banked in your inventory, ensuring that you not only have these in nearly every fight, it also ensures that you aren't afraid to use them, and, importantly, aren't afraid to use everyone's ultimate. And they're not so overpowered that they would ruin the combat system if used. Yes, it can be hard to hear, "Check out this awesome move!" 7 times in a fight, but at least you have a bunch of tactical options there. In Zenless, I usually picked the one they were weak to and didn't consider it much further. In a way, I probably would have preferred weaker, more gimmicky ultimates that could be used multiple times in a dungeon as opposed to these high damage killing moves. I get that might sound insane to some people, but these games are built off of having characters that get a lot of mileage out of each skill. One that gets used so rarely and feels so deflating is a bit of a bummer. Granted, maybe it wasn't meant to be held up to several days of non-stop playing. Actually, I know that's the case because there's a mechanic meant to stop you from playing too much in a single session. I also might have burnt myself by playing it non-stop for a week because you paid for the titty, Steven, you can't log off here. Well, I do love the feeling of the combat. It's hard to not get the impression that I'm spamming square and looking for counters. Many of the new agents didn't spice it up that much. I still just wanted to play Billy Kid's dashing and gun shooting. The only other character I enjoyed was Ellen Cho, but that might also be the fact that we're in Davy Jones' locker for this amount of sunk cost. I also don't want to say that there's no depth here. It is Davy Jones' locker after all. I've been seeing people online start to plumb the game and find new things. Stuff like juggling, combos, etc. But I have yet to find a use for any of it. I have heard that Genshin and Honkai can get pretty hard, though Zenless has yet to challenge me at all, really. Not even boss fights. I feel like I'm slipping into being too mean to the game, because I don't need a challenge to enjoy it. In a world where I can choose so few things, I at least choose to like the fucking video games I play. The combat is a blast, and I'm waiting for them to expand on it, as I really don't think it'd take a lot to fix the issues. Plus, you can still be somewhat tactical by storing your EX attacks. Hell, while I say this, I'm still thinking about going back and playing it more, so it's gotta be doing something right. I also want to touch on the look of ZZZ. The people who made this game love these fucking characters. It feels like everything that could have dedicated art gets it, even when they could have arguably skipped out on it. The characters are everywhere, and it's not just that. Who sat here modeling the individual tapes in the video store? I really hope they add a little first-person camera mode for exploration, similar to the one in the Yakuza games, just so that I could get a more detailed look at the environment. There is a camera, but I want a more casual version too, possibly also a reduced HUD mode, and one with the pants down a little bit, and one with... Of course, the character designs are great. They managed to make weird stuff like a shark girl maid with a giant scythe, and I go, yeah, that makes perfect sense, that's the perfect part of this world. They even teased me with a bunch of characters that aren't out yet, and all I can think of is, wow, I wonder what they do. Devoid from the main plot, you can also just play missions about the side characters. They've also got these comic book style cutscenes, and the art in them is really, really good. There are plenty of opportunities to zoom in and get great details from the panels. No, your YouTube poisoned video player can't see it, but it's there. Though as much as I enjoy the art in these, sometimes the action is missing panels or sound effects, and the result feels very lifeless.
Oh, wait! Oh!
Something's off. I'll tell you when I get back to the store.
I would say it succeeds more than what I just showed you. I can't give you a play-by-play on the entire game. However, these are better used in quieter moments where the dialogue is the focus and the movement isn't. They let the story keep its stylish charm and character detail without forcing an expensive animated cutscene into every mission. Yet I will say that when the game pulls out its animated cutscenes is when it looks its best, because I know that's when they're gonna give a shit. There are so few things that look like this right now, so I'll cherish any moment they turn the robot boy into rubber. It's actually kind of hard to describe the aesthetic of Zenless Zone Zero. It's got supercomputers, but it's also a world where people still rent videotapes. It has an internet called the Internaut, and super AIs plus cell phones, but the entire exploration is done through CRT TVs. Though I can say that what it is fucking nice. The day-to-day sections of Zenless hit an exact mood. It tickles the back of my brain. You can explore 6th Street at several points during the day. Every night before bed, you make the trek to Internaut City for new quests. While it can be a bit of a chore when you want to grind, I love the natural feeling to the siblings' work. That you have to be present on forums, answer texts from contacts, build relationships, remember that one beautiful girl on 6th Street and think about why you can't roll her. Or you can find Ellis at the train station. Unlike the heroes in Star Rail and Genshin, I actually like Bell and Wise. They aren't going to blow your mind with their great character depth, but the relaxed tone of the story mixed with their genuine earnestness made me kind of want to know what happens to them. Granted, they are still RPG protagonists, so all the NPCs need to praise the player through them every 5 seconds. But that's really the only criticism I can form. Will this stay the same over the colossal time period the game will be going for? Who knows? It's a good start, but we've all seen a good start go bad. I'm keeping this game box blank because you are thinking of one. I know you are. So the quality of the game might go up or down, but I do know one thing that'll never change. I know you wanted blood, but you also want to hear if it'll require your blood at some point. It's the first thing people think of when they see these games. It's the first thing I thought of. The answer is probably no, but also that doesn't make it okay, but also the slot machine is kind of fun. If you don't want to spend money, you very much don't, and I encourage it. There were tons of polychromes everywhere. After speaking to a few fellow inmates, I've been given the impression that you can basically do anything without spending a cent as long as you're patient. That's why they set the banners as a temporary thing, to put that patience to the test. However, after my spending spree, I still had plenty of enough polychromes for a 10 pull. No, I don't plan on spending them. Not for a weapon. I'm content to just have the shark girl, and I can die happy if I never see Anton Ivanov ever again. To be the realist I feel like I can be though, I can't help but feel like in a society without money, this game wouldn't work because the attachment to the characters seems fundamentally tied in the misery of getting them. Like if everyone woke up and had every character, they suddenly wouldn't be as fun. And you'd miss out on that sweet feeling we all don't want to admit. It's nice to have things that other people don't. Plus, the game is only allowed to be of such staggeringly high quality and charm because it feeds off poor impulse control. Or deadlines. You should not let this game ruin your life, because it can and will, and it won't even notice. They look at your Discord and say, "Let's go whaling!" That's the warning label. When it started is up to you. When it ends, that might be up to me. Descents aren't supposed to taste this sweet. Hey, thanks for watching. Even though the video's over, I'm not gonna lie, I still kinda wanna play more, which means I think they got me, guys, and I'm a little worried. If I do go back into the game, I might stream some pulls on Twitch. Link to that in the description. Also, if you're curious about any of the art assets, I posted them on Patreon. It's a new thing I'm trying to do. Speaking of Patreon, I'd like to thank the people who made this video possible. I would especially like to thank Anthony R. Chambers, Ethan A., My Reed, Mario Fan 997, Pyrozine, Rekren, Sparkbolt 120, and Sturmfetter. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys sometime soon. And with that, I bless the rest of your day.